All right, welcome once again to HeroQuest fans. So we just finished playing a game of HeroQuest. Well, you were watching me play if you watched live on Twitch, or you can see the replay on YouTube shortly after it airs. Usually takes a couple hours for it to actually upload. But yeah, we played this game where we were using some rules that I came up with inspired by Space Crusade, where I was using these little tokens, these little tiles to show where the monsters would be and have them like move around the board. So I just printed these off. So you've got, monsters with gold values, gold bounties. Some of these are, so that's a Fireburst trap from Wizards of Morkar. So there's furniture. What else? There's potions. The first time I played this, I didn't have the potions or the equipment or the Fireburst traps or the scrolls. See, there's a scroll here. No, there's no scroll, but I just put them in this bag, kind of like a Scrabble bag. It's just a dice rolling bag. But the last time I had 16 per quadrant of the board, 16 tiles that we put out, and that was too much for beginner heroes. This time I put 8, so half, and it was fairly easy. I mean, the elf got some bad rolls, and so she lost a lot of. She almost completely died. Actually, she died twice, but she had her health, her healing, to bring her back. Let's see, no, she died once. Yeah, she died once. She came back with the heal body earth spell, and she would have died again. She was down to 1, but nobody was left to attack her, and she lost her potion thanks to a Zargon card because I was using these homebrew Zargon cards. So anyway, I think it worked pretty well. It's just that between 16 is too much, 8 is too little. So maybe somewhere, maybe 10, 12, something like that. So anyway, it's pretty fun. But yeah, I wanted to say a few words about the remake of the Barbarian Quest Pack, the Frozen Horror, which is, according to the Scandinavian websites, which apparently it's been reported, another visitor to our YouTube channel. I'm forgetting your name already. I'm sorry. But he stated that, oh, it's been known for weeks. It's been on the internet for weeks on these websites. Pre-order, the equivalent of $50, quarter three, 2022, which would be around, I think, September at the latest. But anyway, it was just now people were noticing it in North America, posting on Reddit, and then someone at Avalon Hill just their only response, and this happened like the night of the 31st, so it wasn't April Fool's joke, but they just said, well, we're gonna have to double check and see if the dates and the prices are correct. But they didn't deny it. They didn't say it was fake. They didn't say it was wrong. So something similar happened with HeroQuest, the remake of the game system, because websites put stuff up, listings, and then they took them down, and they put them up again later, and it was a little bit different. So that happens. That sort of thing happens. Stuff doesn't get reported right. People get in trouble, or maybe they leak it on purpose. But what I wanted to say is the I've already did a rant about what's wrong with the Barbarian Quest pack. Everybody wants it because everybody's been hearing about it all these years. Very few people actually got to buy it, much less play it. And so people are nostalgic for the idea of, oh, this is the one that got away. This is the one I never got to buy as a kid. So they're curious about it. And hey, like Strange Bus was saying, I mean, people want more monsters. They want more quests. They want more miniatures because you can do whatever you want with those. It doesn't have to be for HeroQuest even, or you can just make up your own rules. So it's inspiration. It's fodder for creativity. So yeah, I understand that. And the sculpts that we looked at look pretty good. But what I'm most concerned about is what is the text actually say? Because if you just play it as written, there's a lot of problems. And kids are going to play it and they're just going to get absolutely destroyed. I mean, I don't care if you mastered the game system, the original 14 quests in this remake Hero Quest. I don't care if you breezed your way through Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord, which are much harder than the 14 quests. You are going to get steamrolled. You're going to get destroyed. You're going to get wrecked. You're going to get bodied. You're going to get dragged. You're going to get, need I say more, by the Barbarian Quest Pack. And why? Because you start out with 3 solo quests, and they are intended for a brand new player, someone who's brand new to Hero Quest, someone who has a brand new character. So he's armed with a broadsword, no armor, no potions, no artifacts, nothing. And they basically give you quests that like 80 to 95% chance of failure. Like if you don't get killed on the first one, you're going to get killed on the second one, or you're going to get killed on the third one. And yeah, people have different ways of playing. Like they might just say, well, you know what? If you die, you just get to play it. You just get to try again. But according to the rules, if the heroes fail to complete the quest, Zargon is supposed to remix the quest, change things up, change things around, and let them try again with a new hero. So the barbarian's going to play it again, and it's not like he can just memorize the quest because now it's different. And it could be better, it could be worse. So anyway, it's ridiculous. And so I'm going to go through now. When I did my rant, I actually lost one subscriber. I don't know if it was because of that, but I thought, maybe I came across as harsh. There's people out there that, hey, why do you got to be a cynical, jaded fan? They're probably thinking, I'm a toxic fan, that I'm just complaining, that I can't accept it graciously and say, hey, Avalon Hill already apologized for the Guardian Knights. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's get excited about the Frozen Horror. Now, that's a fine attitude to have. I don't think fans should bash each other for having different opinions. I mean, I'm cautious. Until they officially say that it's retail, I'm not going to place any pre-orders. I'm certainly not going to pre-order from GameStop because I still haven't got my Guardian Knights. I know it's a different thing, but I think the future of the franchise does depend a lot on the success of this one. So I'm not going to buy it just because. Um, I'm expecting them to do something. Now, part of me is expecting that they're just going to release it as is. So the most damage control we as fans can do, because we're a hardcore fan community like ye olde Inn, you take those people and then you take the people on Facebook or Board Games Geek, it's still, or Board Game Geek, BGG, it's still a small subset of the people who will buy this thing if it goes to retail stores. So a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions like, why is this so hard all of a sudden? Why is it broken? And maybe they're going to give up on HeroQuest. And if the numbers are low, just like in 1992, maybe they're just going to say, why should we keep making new HeroQuest stuff? This is a dead brand. I mean, hopefully they'll keep selling the game system. They'll keep selling Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, because those you can buy from regular stores, not just online. Although local stores around where I live don't seem to carry it. I don't know if that's because they're sold out or what. Supplies. There have been supply chain issues, but so let's say it comes to retail stores, and let's say most likely they're not going to make any changes at all. It's just going to be aesthetic. Any Games Workshop stuff they're going to change. So when it says Chaos, they're going to change it to Dread. They're going to refer to the Frozen Horror, the boss monster, as it instead of he. Zargon is it, not it, but they'll just say the evil sorcerer. They won't actually say he for some reason, even though we pretty much assume Zargon's a guy, and it's not like um, the GM couldn't be female. It's just the character is male, but whatever. But other than that, we're not expecting any changes. Yeah, Fimmers will be abominations. That's just what they do. This monster here showing. If you see that, which I think that's a cool looking monster. See, it never even came up in this quest. But I miss the Fimmers. But I mean, that's a Games Workshop trademark character. Here's the alternate from the Mythic. Not showing off, just showing you that that's what it looks like. It's a cool monster, water monster. Well, anyway, other than that, though, they're probably not going to change anything because they're probably thinking in their minds, everybody wants the Barbarian quest back. Everybody has been clamoring for it. I mean, you go on eBay and it's just the prices are ridiculous. So we know that there's high demand for it. And the way we did it with the game system in Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, does not change anything. Leave the gameplay exactly like. Okay, I agree with that. I think they made the right choice. But the Barbarian Quest Pack has some serious problems. And so instead of me ranting and ranting about how bad it is and how it could have been good, I'm now going to be constructive and positive, and I'm going to tell you what would be some easy fixes on an errata. And if Hasbro and Avalon Hill doesn't do this, we, the fans, should do this. I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but I'm saying what we should do is we should spread the word that here are some easy ways to fix the Barbarian Quest Pack. which is known as the Frozen Horror. And if they do the ElfQuest pack, same way, same thing, because it's got some similar problems. Okay, so here's what I wrote on Eulden, and again, feel free to disagree with me. Feel free to do your own thing. But we've known about this set since 1992, and you can still go online. You can look at all the quests. You can read all the text on all the cards. There may be other fixes, but the first thing they did was they showed us that they're going to include 12 physical models of mercenaries. The original only had 6 because the weapons were removable. And so if they're using like all-in-one, pre-glued models, because we know they're multi-part models, they had 12 of them, 3 of each weapon. So that's cool. And if the heroes have enough gold, they could hire more mercenaries. So the game would be easier. But the thing is, you can only hire mercenaries on quest 4 through 10. You can't do it on 1 through 3. So it doesn't help the barbarian in those super hard early quests. So here's the stuff. So we're just talking a mile a minute here. Okay. So here's some simple, easy ways to fix the problems with the Barbarian Quest pack, other than what they've already done with the mercenaries. And who knows? Maybe they will do some of this, or maybe they won't even notice. They'll wait till people start complaining on Twitter and Facebook after it's released. But we'll see. So the first one I would suggest is a discount for mercenary retention. What I mean by that is, so in the Barbarian Quest pack, you can hire mercenaries, and you got to pay the gold up front, and they follow you around on the quest and help you out. But at the end of the quest, they just go away, right? But you can hire them again by paying the same amount of gold. But the thing is, there's no incentive to let me just check the chat here. Sorry. There's no incentive. Feel free to chime in. Yeah, good game, Striker. Thanks. Yeah, there's no incentive to keep them alive. So you can use them for cannon fodder because you're going to pay the same amount of gold whether you rehire them or they get killed and you hire a brand new one. So you hire a swordsman for 100 gold, he gets killed. Next quest, you hire another swordsman for 100 gold. Or you retain him for 100 gold. Well, when mercenaries were first introduced into HeroQuest in, I think, yeah, it was 1991, so the previous year. Actually, no, it might have been the same exact time. I'm not sure which came out first, the Barbarian Quest pack, Frozen Horror, or the European exclusive Wizards of Morcar. They might have both been the same time, but in Wizards of Morcar, the heroes could hire mercenaries. And yes, the mercenaries were weaker. They only had 1 body point instead of 2. But otherwise, they were, well, and I guess a few of them were cheaper. But you would get a discount if you hired them. If they survived and you hired them on to the next one, the retention was only 10 gold coins, regardless of which one. So it was a nice bonus. If you keep your guys alive, you only have to pay 10 for them to continue on. Yeah, you could say, you know what, I don't like this guy. I won't rehire him, but I'll hire another one for full price. But I think in Wizards of Morcar, you could hire up to 3 per hero. It was either 3 or 4, I forget. But in Barbarian Quest pack, you can hire as much as you can afford. Now, obviously, you can't hire more than there are models, but 3, 6, 9, 12, you could do that. You could hire all 12 of them, 3 for each hero. So I think having some type of discount for retaining a hero mercenary would be a really cool thing. It would help the heroes because they have more gold that they could use for other things. They could buy potions. Which would make the game easier because it's so hard. It's super hard. It's way harder it's harder than all the other quests official releases, period. Second easy fix would be, and this could all fit on one page. So it could easily be distributed, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, sent as an email to Hasbro and Avalon Hill, printed out on t-shirts. Handed out flyers, whatever. Just spread the word to everybody who can think of it. Okay, the second one is an escape mechanic for the Yeti Hug Attack. I already complained about this. So the Yeti is one of the first monsters that you encounter as the barbarian. So you're by yourself. And if you go through a certain room, very early in the quest, the Yeti comes out and he can attack you. Let me just look up his stats here real quick. I'm going to have to go to the inn to do this. Yeah, we're not going to read my open letter again. I think most people took it in the right spirit. Some people were like, it's so negative. Why are you so negative? How do you know it's going to be that bad? I mean, don't be so cynical. And I'm not trying to be cynical. But yeah, if we're looking at Ye Olde Inn, so very useful, helpful website by fans, for fans. Look at the Frozen Horror. So again, it's all here, and you don't have to look at Ye Olde Inn. I mean, Hasbro themselves have the scan, the full scan of the quest book. So if we look at monsters, so yeah, the Yeti, he attacks with 3. So he's not the strongest monster of all time, but he's still pretty strong. So 3 attack. And so the barbarian's only going to defend with 2. So if he loses any damage at all, the Yeti automatically gets him in this hug attack. And there's no way to get out of it. Somebody else has to come up behind the Yeti and attack him and kill him, because when he's in the hug attack, the Yeti can't defend. So, okay, so he can be attacked, and the Yeti has 5 body points. So somebody else is got to be wailing on the Yeti trying to kill him. But in the solo quest, you can't hire mercenaries, and the barbarian's all by himself. So there's no way he can get out of it. So he's just dead, because every turn he's going to lose 2 body points until he's gone. And yeah, he starts out with 8, but it doesn't even matter if he has potions. He can't survive. So if he meets the Yeti and fails to kill the Yeti and the Yeti does any damage, he's dead. Well, it turns out, and this thanks to Luca Pasci with the Lost Quests project for the unfinished, unreleased Wizard Quest pack and Dwarf Quest pack. He some of the notes that he has are from discussions between the developers for the Elf and Barbarian Quest pack as well. So you get to see some of the stuff they talked about which didn't make it into the final version. And their original solution, so I think it's perfectly fine. It's legit. As official as you can get. What they envisioned was when the Yeti grabs you, it only does 1 body point of damage per round, not 2. Only 1. And the barbarian has the chance to immediately or on a future turn or on future turns try to break the hold. And he does this by rolling 2 white combat dice. If he gets even 1 white shield, he avoids damage that round. If he gets 2 white shields, he actually breaks the hold. They also said that the Yeti is able to defend himself while he's in the hug attack, but he just defends with 1 less. So if we look at his official stats, he defends with 3. So he defend with 2 while he's hugging one of the heroes and crushing him. The thing is, anything you say about a hero can also be true of a mercenary. So he could grab a mercenary. I mean, normally he would just kill him right away because it does 2. Well, if it does 1, there's a chance to try to save him and you could try to heal him. So, yeah. So I think their solution versus the original version is much better. So obviously I talked a lot. You could just say it real quick. So first one, discount for Merc retention. Wizards of Morcar was 10 gold to retain each surviving Merc, encourages heroes to not throw them away like cannon fodder, and able to buy more of them. We have twice as many Mercs to buy now. Number 2, escape mechanic for Yeti hug attack. Early draft notes indicate it was to do only 1 body point damage per round, and the barbarian has a chance immediately and on his future turns to roll 2 combat dice. Single white shield means he avoids damage that round. 2 white, I should say 2 white shields, not 2 white dice. That's a typo. Means he breaks the hold. I'll fix that. Yeti can defend from outside attacks while in the hold, but does so with 1 die less. All right, so number 3, suggestions on how to improve the Frozen Horror and prevent it from being a disaster. Number 3, recovery from shock state possible. Bring your mind points above 0 and that character recovers. Now, this is more just of an oversight. So it describes in the rules how a hero goes into a state of shock if he gets to 0 mind points, and that's different than the other versions because in let's see, Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord, there are ways that you can lose mind points. So in Return of the Witch Lord, if your mind points go to 0, you just become unconscious, and so you're just out of the quest. You can't come back. Now, at the end of the quest, you revive again. So somebody else has to complete the quest, and presumably they drag your body out, and you survive. But it's kind of like you're temporarily dead, basically. Um, in Keller's Keep, it says that you're just there's a certain guy who can take away mind points. You're just dead. You're dead, dead, unless someone has the elixir of life to bring you back. That's the only way you can come back. So it's pretty dangerous. But in the Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror, the ElfQuest pack, they decided no, it's different. They decided that instead you go into what's called shock. And so that means you've got 0 mind points. But see, the thing is, they don't say you can get out of shock. A lot of people assumed you could, but a clarification in there would be nice to say, oh, by the way, if by any chance your mind points go back up again from 0, because they can't go negative, then you're out of the state of shock rather than it's just permanent. Because it said that certain things can temporarily bring you back. So this is, Phoenix did his own versions of each of the quests, and this is slightly modified. So it's not 100% like the original in every aspect, but pretty close. So let's see, shock, mind points. Because really, each of these the 4 proposed, named quest packs for the heroes would have these similar rules. These were released exclusively in North America. Okay, so this is more or less what you see in the original mind points. When a hero reaches 0 mind points, he is not dead, but in shock. A hero cannot go below 0 mind points. Quote, he rolls only 1d6 to move, attacks with only 1 combat die, and defends with only 2 combat dice. So it's as if he's unarmed and has no armor. So even if he's wearing armor. So armor, weapons, and most artifacts do not increase the attack or defend dice when a hero is in shock. The hero's attack and defend dice can be temporarily increased by some spells and spell scrolls. So notice the spells and spell scrolls don't cure him. They're just temporary. The extra mind points gained from certain artifacts, such as the Talisman of Lore, can be lost in battle. For example, a barbarian with the Talisman of Lore for a total of 3 mind points goes into shock after he accumulates 3 mind points of damage. In this and other quest packs, it is important to keep track of heroes' current mind points. Tell the heroes to use the bottom row body point boxes in their character sheets to record mind point damage. So, but look, it doesn't say that you can get out of shock. So, if they intended for the heroes to be able to do that, they should say so. And I think they should be able to get out of it because otherwise it's way, way harder. Because you're going to need every defend dice you can to survive. Because when you meet the Frozen Horror and his minions, there's literally a chaos spell that will either reduce you to 0 mind points or 1 mind point, like instantly. So it's pretty powerful. Okay, so recovery from shock state possible is what I would say. These are ways to make it better, make it less broken difficulty-wise, because it's super hard. So number 4, trapped treasure chest correction. So this isn't so much, this would actually make it harder. So not every change is going to make it easier, but this is just a glaring error. So in Solo Quest number 2, so the second quest of the 10 quest pack, instead of a line of spear traps around the chest, letter D, the treasure chest itself has a spear trap on it that can deal 2 body points of damage. Why 2? It could be 1, but yeah, I'm saying 2 body points of damage to the barbarian if not disarmed before searching for treasure. Now the thing is, he would have to know that it's coming and buy a toolkit for 250 gold in between quests to be able to disarm it. So I never actually checked to see if he can even do that. So let me just look at it. So spoilerific spoilers. Again, this is Phoenix's interpretation, but if I'm reading it right, so you're seeing on your screen, okay, look at this. Look at this over here in this upper right quadrant. See that? There is no excuse for this. Because in Hero Quest, whether you're playing the European version or the North American version, in the Japanese version, okay. But in all the other versions, when you see a treasure chest like this, you step into the room, you search for treasure, you get whatever's in the treasure, and then you leave. You don't have to walk up to the treasure chest to open it or anything like that. There's no mechanic that says you have to do that. And so the fact that they put all these spear traps around it is silly. There's no reason for this. There's no reason that you would ever walk up to the treasure chest. So what they should have done instead is what they've done in other quests, which is make the treasure chest itself orange, meaning there's a trap on it, which means that if you search for treasure before searching for traps and disarming the trap, it'll hit you. But if you disarm it first, so let's see, would he be able to disarm it? Assuming you started from scratch and had nothing. So does he find any gold in the previous quest? Doesn't say he does, actually. Oh no, he gets 75. Excuse me. So he'd only have 75 gold. That's not enough to buy and there's no dwarf, so it's not enough to buy a toolkit. So it would actually be kind of silly, I guess. So maybe they had a point there. However, in this quest, he has the first quest, the previous one, he has a chance to find a longsword. Now the longsword is better than the broadsword. The broadsword he gets 75 gold coins. So yeah. I'm just kind of tired here, so let's do the little calculation. 75 plus 75 is 150, getting there. He finds a crossbow. Yeah, but why would he ever sell the crossbow? He finds a shield, a longsword, and a crossbow. So he'll probably sell the broadsword. Yeah, he won't be able to afford the toolkit. Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of silly, but it's sillier to have those traps there. Now, okay, they were probably thinking to themselves, oh, he'll have to search for traps, find all those spear traps, and then he'll have to jump the trap to get to the chest. But he doesn't have to do that. So as it is right now, those traps are as if they're just useless. If you put a trap on the treasure chest, that means if he searches, he's going to get hit. And the sad lesson is there was no lesson. Unless they put a toolkit somewhere in the quest for him to find. Like, oh, by the way, there's a toolkit. So they could hide a toolkit in one of these rooms, maybe put it in the weapons rack or put it next to the fireplace or something like that. And that would be a clue. Hey, maybe you could use this. Because the toolkit only gives you a 50% chance of disarming a trap, whereas the dwarf has a 1 in 6 chance of failure, but you don't get to use the dwarf. So, but I would say their intention should have been either no trap at all or put the trap on the treasure chest. So if you search, you're going to get hit with something. Maybe they could make it so if you spring the trap, you roll a die, and if it hits you, you take 2, and if not, it misses. So maybe there'd be a chance for you to not take damage because it feels kind of cheap either way. But anyway, I think it should have been a trap chest. Okay, so I spent a lot of time unpacking that one. Number 5. Treasure chest is not empty. Solo quest number 2. Treasure chest letter B actually contains something useful like a potion of healing restoring up to 4 lost body points. So this one you could say maybe that's controversial because so Solo Quest 2 treasure chest B says the treasure chest is empty. Now they obviously intended it for it to be empty. There's certain treasure chests where there's no letter, there's no nothing, and if there's no letter, there's no parchment, there's no quest note about it, then you're supposed to draw a card. It's just an ordinary piece of furniture, which means just a treasure card draw. But since these quests are so ridiculously hard, I think they ought to put something in there. So the natural thing to do would be a potion of healing. Could be a 1d6 potion of healing. Could be a 4. It's usually either 2 or 4 or 1d6. So some type of healing potion I would suggest. Throw them a bone. Make it a little more survivable. Okay, so what's next? So my next suggestion is no, clearly I was tired and I was adding stuff, so it should be number 6. And then 6 should be 7, 7 should be 8. So the Polar War Bear second attack defense clarification. So let's look at the monster here. I closed it already. Whoops. Well, anyway, Yeah, the polar war bear is a really strong monster, and so it gets 2 attacks every turn, and so it can attack a hero twice. And what they said in the rules is that when it attacks twice, I think it even says it here. Large monsters, wandering monsters. Okay, here it is. Rule clarifications. Now they do clarify here. Yes, a hero can pass a potion, artifact, weapon, or any other item to another hero, only if the 2 heroes are adjacent squares and neither hero is adjacent to a monster. Other than the part about being adjacent to a monster, pretty much everybody assumed that's what you could do. Multiple attacks. A hero rolls defend dice once for each attacking monster. That's what they say. For example, if a hero attacked by 3 zombies and gets 3 separate defend rolls. A hero attacked by a monster with multiple attacks, such as the polar war bear, however, gets only 1 defend roll against that monster per turn, no matter how many of the monster's attacks are directed at the hero. So that makes it sound like they defend once and then the second attack is just unblockable, which is pretty ridiculous because it's a powerful monster. So I would say they should clarify it. Say the target of the warbear's attack gets to roll their defense, and if they block all skulls, any extra white shields rolled are allowed to be counted against the second warbear attack. So any leftover white shields, since they can always attack twice. If the war bear monster strikes 2 different targets, each gets to defend normally against each attack. Alternately, the mechanic could simply be changed to say that while the monster gets 2 attacks every turn, the victims all get to defend each time as they would against any other attack. Because if you're a hero and you have Heroic Brew, you get to attack twice and the monster gets to defend twice. Now they say that what the polar war bear does is it has a club in one hand and a claw in the other, its paws in the other. And so it hits once and it hits again, and both times I think it's 4 dice. So it's really powerful. It can kill you in 1 attack pretty easily, or 1 round pretty easily. Because 4 and 4, and only 1 defense for you. So I would say, yeah, throw them a bone. And then, which should be number 7, solo quest Merc prisoner rescue option. I'm going to call it prisoner rescue. So in solo quest number 1, the crossbowman, letter B, immediately surrenders when the barbarian tries to attack him. So let's go to that, and I'll show you again. This is Phoenix's recreation. So down here in this area, in a B, you can see that. So that's a bad guy. But the evil crossbowman does not move, but fires his crossbow at the barbarian once during each of Zargon's turns until the barbarian reaches him. If the barbarian moves next to the crossbowman and attacks, I guess he could shoot him with a crossbow. But yeah, if he runs up to him, the crossbowman surrenders immediately. Oh, he wouldn't have a crossbow yet. Yeah, he wouldn't. If you move, okay, the crossbowman surrenders immediately, offering his crossbow in exchange for his life. The crossbowman then runs away. The barbarian should add the crossbow to his character sheet. So my proposed fix is to say, okay, that's all well and good, but the hero then has the option to either A, let him go, taking his crossbow in exchange for his life, or B, pressing him into service. His life debt is repaid at the end of the quest, so he cannot be rehired. This character functions exactly like a crossbow mercenary at full strength under the barbarian's control for the remainder of the quest. So he would follow you around, and you could order him to attack and everything, just like a crossbowman. I think that would be much, much easier, much better for the hero. Okay, and then what should have been number 8, Armband of Ice reward for completing Quest 3. The village elder Gothar was able to discover this artifact during his period of captivity and grants it to the barbarian as a reward for his rescue. So Quest 3 is very difficult, but you have this artifact called the Armband of Ice. They made a card for it and everything. It's really good. It protects you from a lot of ice-related damage. Similar to the Ring of Warmth, but even better. But you never find it. It's, you can't search for it and find it. It's not in any of the quests. So by giving you the Armband of Ice as a reward, it just seems really natural for them to do that. So and it would help you out a lot. And it's like, yeah, you go to rescue the village elder. Well, maybe he knew where it was, and he gives it to you. And what should have been number 9, unmarked chest in quest 9 assigned something. Considering the extreme difficulty of this quest and how heavily guarded it is, it should be something really useful like the Elixir of Life artifact. Now, I haven't checked with Luca Passi to see if he's found any notes indicating what it might be in there, or if they just flat out forgot. But yeah, let's look at quest 9. So the last 2 quests they're two-parter, so you can't heal in between and visit the armory and get your spells back in between. You just got to go one quest and then right into the next one. So obviously heavy spoilers here. Okay, so quest 9, Heart of Ice. It's a double quest. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. See this upper right corner, down 1? See this treasure chest? No mark at all. But you've got a gargoyle, a femur, 3 orcs, and another femur. 2 femurs. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 body points worth of monsters defending it, and there's nothing in it. And you're just drawing a card? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's such a tease to put a treasure chest and there's just nothing. And there's no note saying, well, it's empty. It's just there's just nothing there. And yes, you can check the original version of the quest, and that's true as well. This isn't a mistake Phoenix made. Because Phoenix isn't perfect, but yeah. So it's just silly. So put something in there that's useful. I mean, put whatever you want, but an elixir of life would make the most sense because look at all this stuff you have to deal with. All this fighting, all these monsters. It's just going to be super hard. Yep. So that's what I would suggest for that one. Or you could just put a wimpy healing potion in there, but elixir of life would bring a dead hero back to life at full strength. You probably need it. Because the amount of monsters you're fighting, I mean, think of like hundreds of body points worth of monsters by the end. The last 2 quests. Okay, and then this last thing, this would be number 10, actually, not number 9. I thought this was really interesting because I never really thought about it. Blind trap jumping mechanic introduced. So in the game system rules, jumping traps require that the location of trap be first discovered by searching, or else known in the case of a visible sprung pit trap tile. A proposed rule in the draft stage for the barbarian and other quest packs was that a hero or mercenary ally could simply choose to jump a specific square. Only if they failed, by rolling a skull on 1 combat die, and landed on the square they were attempting to jump, I just misspelled that, would Zargon be required to reveal if there was a trap there. So if they were successful, Zargon just wouldn't say anything. He'd successfully jump that square. But if they landed on it, it's like, oh, guess what? There was a trap there after all, and the consequences. So this would give heroes finally a chance against a trap on the opposite side of an open door incidences. Because according to the basic rules, if there's a trap on the opposite side of an open door, you open the door, you walk in, it's too late to search. You've already landed in it, whatever it is. So it's basically like a guaranteed hit, unless it's a spear trap, in which case it might fly over your head. Or I guess in theory, falling block trap, yeah, it's going to block your path, but it might not do any damage because you roll the dice and it might not be a skull for those 3 dice. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Yeah, especially for stalactite traps. Now, stalactite trap, you land on the square, it instantly just does 1 damage. There's no way to defend or dodge it or anything. It's a guaranteed hit. And if a stalactite trap is on the other side of the door, which does happen, they do instant unblockable damage. So you could try to jump those squares. Again, you're guessing. And wandering monster trap can't be searched for. It's otherwise undetectable. It would be sheer luck and guesswork on the part of the heroes, and they'd still have a chance to fail, of course. So any other suggestions? But yeah, let me see if I can find an example of what I'm talking about here. So obviously I'm spoiling everything here. Yeah, there's a pit trap on the other side of a... I mean, the traps on the other side of the doors thing has been around since the game system, so that's not unique to these quests. See, there's a swinging axe trap on one side and pit on the other. Double whammy. But yeah, if you're just like jumping the trap and jumping the trap there and jumping the trap there, I guess it could go overboard. You could be like every single square, I'm jumping that one and that one, but you've got to have... Oh no, it wouldn't work because you've got to have a safe square on the other side. So let's say you're on one side of the door. You're like, okay, I'm jumping this square here because you just got hit by this. I'm jumping this next one. You jump it, okay, you're successful, but you land on the other side and you get hit by that one. So it's like they anticipated it, but they didn't put it in the rules. They were talking about it in the draft notes and they didn't put it in the rules. I think they would have intended to do that if they'd had more time and thought about it, how hard it was going to be. So here's another one, double. So it's like you jump this one, I'm safe. You jump this one, I'm safe. Oh, and then you fell in. Or you do this, you jump, safe, and then you landed. There's another one on the other side of the door. It's just constant. It's like every door. See there's a stalactite trap on the other side. So boom, you get hit. There's no way to avoid it. There's another one. There's another one. So pretty much at a certain point, the heroes are going to be like, okay, I'm going through the door. I'm sure there's a trap here. Let's try to jump it at least. And half the time, you're still going to get hit. But it's like, okay, fair enough. You jumped one, but you couldn't jump two. Double jump. There's another one. That's the spear trap at least. So there's a chance it could miss you. And if it misses you, you just keep on your turn. Yeah, so these are all spoilers. Spoiler for explorers. There's a stalactite. Yeah, it's just an instant hit. Just to let you know. It's like because I mean, a pit trap, if you fall in a pit trap, you automatically take damage. There's no dodging it, nothing. But at least you can jump a pit if you've discovered it. The floor looks weak. Okay, you can try to jump it. Stalactite trap. This deadly spear of ice clings to the ceiling of ice caverns. Unless searched for and disarmed, the stalactite falls upon the first hero to move into the trap square, causing 1 body point of damage. Monsters do not spring stalactite traps. See, so it's unblockable. The swinging axe trap, you roll 2 combat dice. So, I mean, it might hit you, it might not. You don't get to defend, though. So, yeah, the pit trap is pretty bad. But the stalactite trap is really bad when it's on the other side of a door. Because I guess then it's gone after that. So, I guess the pit trap is worse. But still, yeah, if you could just blindly jump through, I think that would make a big difference. So, I don't know if anybody's in the trap If anybody in the chat is still awake, any suggestions? Just one monster in the room would make this more dangerous. Yeah. I'd play that role defend after all attacks are used. Well, that's an interesting suggestion, Striker. So you're saying, so the war bear, it's like, boom, it hits you, 4 skulls. Boom, it hits you again, 4 more skulls. And you're like, okay, I've got 6 combat dice. I'm going to roll. I got 6 white shields. So I had 8 skulls, so I take 2 damage. Rather than, okay, I blocked the first 4 and then the second 4 hit me. Or, yeah, you apply at the beginning and then any extra get applied to the second one. Yeah, you could treat it like a single attack. It's annoying you can't search for traps through doors, though. Yeah, I agree. Well, this is a way that they do that to try to get around it. I came up with the homebrew rule where I said, okay, I've got a ranger, and he can once per quest he can use his special ability, which is to just like reach through the door and search for the trap. But I thought it's super weak too because as we stare into infinity, it's like he has to guess that the trap is there, and if he's wrong, he just uses up the ability. He doesn't get to use it again. But if you could blindly jump, be like, okay, pretty good chance there's probably a trap on the other side of the door because they've hit us with dozens of these already. I'm going to try to jump. And you jump and oh, you landed on the other square next to it. It's like they knew it was going to happen. So there's a whole bunch of instances you saw where on the other side of the door there's a trap and in the square right next to that there's another trap. Of course, what they also probably thought is, okay, the first person goes through, falls in, and then it's like, haha, okay, now it's safe. The next guy runs forward and he falls in. Now, if there are 2 pit traps, they would still have to jump over the first guy who's already in the pit. They have to jump over because you could have, like, all 4 heroes could fall in the same pit. That's the only one of the few times they can occupy the same square. The other is on the staircase. So yeah, I was avoiding looking. Spoiler. Yeah, sorry about the spoilers, everybody. I mean, it's been around for 30 years, but at the same time, yeah, this thing will be coming out in a few months, and you'll try to play it, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember But here's what you do as Zargon. If you're Zargon, you rearrange the quest before it gets played. And I mean, I've done that when I've played with veteran players, but it's kind of overkill because it's like, come on, they don't really remember 30 years later. But they could be like me. They could be like, you study the game so much, it's like you kind of vaguely remember, oh yeah, I think there's 4 Chaos Warriors, so that next door is a bad one, and you remember little bits of it, especially if you played as Zargon back in the day. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to cheat. If I were playing, I'd say, listen, I'm a hardcore player. I've looked at these maps before, so I want you to make some adjustments, just so it's a little more of a surprise. And if it was me, I would just change a couple things around. I mean, yeah, you could make it way harder. I mean, if the first was a total disaster, you could punish the heroes by making it harder the second time. But chances are, if anything, it's either going to be the same or it's going to be easier when you rearrange stuff. So maybe you put some of the harder monsters like not in a big group, or maybe you put some of the treasure, some of the good stuff like closer to the door, closer to the start, something like that. I mean, but sometimes it's just something as simple as you just swap the rooms. So it's like, oh yeah, we need to head north. Wrong, you need to head south now. Stuff like that. But it's an art. But really, I mean, who's to say it has to be anything alike? You could change the whole thing completely. You'd probably just keep the basic premise. So if it's the rescue of Sir Ragnar, yeah, Sir Ragnar is still a prisoner somewhere, but everything could be different. But more than likely, you'll just move his cell to a different room and maybe swap the furniture around. Yeah, moving a little empty chest here or there. Yeah, but my thought is they want to keep it as much like the original as possible. And I'm cool with that because it preserves the nostalgia. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go on eBay and spend $1,000 to buy the Frozen Horror, but I would love to be able to buy it as if I were a kid again in 1992 and I could just play it like it was brand new, like I got a chance to actually own it, rather than I sent them my money and they sent me a letter back saying, sorry, this is no longer in production. And I was like, oh, yeah. So just a few changes here and there just to make it easier. Because I mean, if it, when I make my stuff, that's my general philosophy is, yeah, I'm doing all these house rules. This game that you just saw is probably the most radical thing that I've done. Because for the most part, I just take the game as it is and I just add onto it. I add extra stuff. Whereas what a lot of people do is they take some mechanic and they change it. They change it from what's there, you know. So yeah, you've got a broadsword, but the broadsword works completely differently than the broadsword normally does. It's like, okay, well, you can do that. But I'd rather be like, yeah, you still got the broadsword, but you've got this other weapon that works this other way, or whatever. Instead of subtracting things or changing things, I'd rather add things on. So this for me is a big change because you're playing the game very differently. But I'm still trying to retain as many core mechanics as possible. But I appreciate that they're trying to retain so much from the classic game because so many franchises we've seen that. I mean, yeah, it's okay to take risks when you're making art, but the whole point of bringing back Hero Quest is they're trying to capture the nostalgic players who played it back in 89, 90, 91, 92, who now are grown up and they're trying to introduce it to their kids and their grandkids and their nieces and nephews. And they're trying to remember how much fun it was and, have that cool experience. And maybe people heard about it for years and it's like, oh, I finally want to see what it's about. But if you change it completely into something that was, completely different than the original, they're going to be like, this is nothing like it. So what was the point, in remembering it? So, yeah. So adding the new mercenaries is a big step in the right direction. But I think if they do these other things or something like this would go a long way to fixing it. Because I don't expect them to rewrite every single quest. I mean, yeah, they could delete like half the monsters and make it like fairly simple. It wouldn't be any harder than the game system then, or it'd be as hard as Keller's Keep, maybe, or Return of the Witch Lord. or the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, which very few people will play. I mean, we got to think about it. Very few people actually got the Mythic tier and the extra content. Most people didn't even know the pledge drive was going on. And they would have, like, they remember HeroQuest, but they never got a chance to buy the new game. And so they had to wait for the retail release. And they didn't even get a chance to get the Guardian Knight expansion either, just one character. So when the Barbarian quest pack comes out, this will be the first time they've ever played it. And so there's all this anticipation. And maybe they read the book, maybe they didn't, maybe they don't remember. And so I want their experience to be special. I want it to be good. And I think if I worked for Avalon Hill, I'd want the same thing. And so it's like, I know that these problems. So if they print out like a little sheet and just include it in the box, being like, hey, listen, you can play it as written, but it's going to be really, really hard. Here's some refinements. Here's some suggestions. Try these and you'll have a better experience, we think. You know, but just keep in mind, this is a game that you can expand to your heart's content. So if you come up with a better solution, write to us, let us know. Do whatever you want. But yeah, give a discount for retaining the mercenaries. Allow the Yeti hull to be broken by rolling dice and doesn't do as much damage. Clarify that you can recover from shock by increasing your mind points. I mean, there's potions that'll do it. There's artifacts that'll do it. Correct that trapped treasure chest. It's more of a nitpick than anything. There's no point to the way they have it now in Quest 2. I mean, yeah, it stinks to have a toolkit that you can't afford being required, but maybe they could make it so it's not instant damage. Maybe he rolls for damage, which is what a spear trap would be. I mean, if you land on a spear trap, you roll one red die or one white die. If it's a skull, you get hit. If not, it just misses and you can keep on moving. So it's only a 50% chance of hitting. So maybe that'd be the most just way to do it. So you spring the trap, roll one white die. If it's a skull, you lose 2 body points. If not, you get the treasure. Fine. Put something in the empty treasure chest in Quest 2. Maybe like a potion of healing that restores 4 lost body points or 1d6. Make the Polar Warbearer attack a little less punishing. So either you roll once after both attacks to cover both, or if any extra shields carry over, or you get to roll defense both times. It's just too powerful of a mechanic. I mean, I guess they're assuming the heroes are so powerful by this point that they can take it somehow. But there's only so much armor you can wear. There's only so many spell scrolls you can collect. There's only so many potions you can buy and actually use. Because half the potions in the Barbarian quest pack only work for the Barbarian. And yes, they say that you can use them for the ones from the previous expansions, which would be Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, which had the exact same ones. But there's no guarantee that you'll have that. I mean, if a hero dies in a room with monsters, his stuff is claimed by monsters and you can never get it back. In the Barbarian quest pack, the Ice Gremlins can steal stuff. Oh, I totally forgot. Yeah, that's another one. The Ice Gremlins can steal your stuff. And there's a couple of quests where it says, oh, you discover the Horde where they were hiding everything. And here it is. But it doesn't say for the entire game up to that point. It's implied that it's only that quest. So if they let you get the stuff back, fine. But you could lose your gear permanently. And so you're going to have heroes with hardly anything, fighting along. They lose their gold too. So it's not a guarantee that they're just going to breeze through and have, 3 mercenaries and a big library of potions to draw on. They might just be screwed. And these monsters are just going to wipe them out. Yeah, provide the Armband of Ice as a reward for Quest 3. I mean, you could give it to them anytime, but that just seems a logical place to do it. And then unmarked chest in Quest 9 should be something useful, like an Elixir of Life. It'd be nice to know what they thought to put in there, if they even thought about it. And then implement that suggested mechanic of blindly jumping a square, which it would get annoying if they just, from the beginning of the quest to the end, they just jumped every single square, but you can only jump 1 square at a time. So they could still land in traps. But yeah, they might just be paranoid and just be doing it constantly. Jump in the trap, jump in the trap, jump in the trap. If they forget, and they land in the trap. It's like too bad, so sad. But yeah, the ice gremlins and their thieving could be something else to add to it. Let's check the Discord. Yeah, people are. We haven't had a lot of activity on this Discord lately. I mean, some people have really been going with creating mods, so that's cool. You see the chest, walk in the room, and boom. Make it a spear trap at the door. Yeah. I actually like the spear trap at the door idea because you get those door blocking people. And it's like, okay, but if they walk in and they get hit by the spear holds them there. It stops their movement. Now, if it misses, you just keep on going. It holds them there, and then the monsters can attack them. Now, if you stand on the other side of the door and just fire a crossbow through the door, well, that's it. Now, notice when I was playing the game, I was using those fire burst traps. Some people have said, well, if they ever remake the Wizards of Morcar into Wizards of Zargon, I guess, they're going to have to deal with the Starburst. I keep wanting to call Starburst. Starburst was this candy that we had in the 80s. It was really fruity and delicious. Very sweet. But yeah, you got these Fireburst traps. And some people were saying, well, the Fireburst trap, the idea was, well, in the original version of the game, you couldn't backtrack. So you walk into a room, oh, I'm stuck. You walk into the room, you've got to stay there. You can't leave. I mean, unless you go through the other door or pass through the wall with pass through rock. And so this would be really dangerous. But if you convert it to the North American rules or the second edition UK rules, you walk into the room, oh, there's a fireburst trap. Well, I'll just leave the room. I mean, unless you have a tempest to zap it, but you just leave the room. It goes off, doesn't hurt you. You know, or maybe the blast radius goes all the way, and so you have to just move out of the way. But yeah, so it's a lot less dangerous. And so people were saying, oh, it's useless, but it's still dangerous. It's just that, you know, because there's two ways to get them. One is you find it just in the room. The other is you search for treasure and you get a magical trap card, which is Fireburst. There's two cards that they add to the treasure deck. But anyway, that's not the Barbarian quest pack. That's a totally different quest pack. Because see, yeah, if they do a remake of Frozen Horror, naturally the next one would be Mage of the Mirror. I mean, maybe they'll try to do like Luca Pasci. Maybe they'll call him up and say, "Hey, look, can you hand over those notes? We want to finish it up." They could do or they could start from scratch, do the dwarf and wizard quest packs, or they could go into the European versions, just like Phoenix did. Get the against the Ogre Horde and Wizards of Morcar. Now they would have to adapt them to the North American rules. For the most part, though, that just means, you know, making sure that the Fimmers or the Abominations, as the case may be, and the Mummies have 2 body points, and then the Chaos Warriors and Gargoyles have 3, because in the European version they all had 1. Also, in the Ogre Horde, they had a weird way of doing the Ogre body points. It's like the first Ogre you met was a certain body point, and the second one was a certain one. There was this whole chart. So it could be 1 body point, it could be 2, it could be 3. So Phoenix was just like, yeah, just make it 3. So it's always 3 for the lowest kind of ogre, and then I think it's like Ogre Warrior, and then the champion was, I want to say, 4. And the chieftain and the Ogre Lord were each 5. But yeah, you could have an ogre and it's like, oh no, an ogre, and he's actually not that strong. So probably give them fixed body points. Now, in the Elf Quest pack, they gave them 10, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's a big stack of skulls for them to balance on. So because of that, I made a body point counter for the ogres, but I haven't gotten to those quests yet. The farthest I've gotten with those is to play the solo quests. First one was so hard. I mean, the elf basically died, or was down to 1 body point fighting a big monster, and so I modified it and said, okay, another elf can go and try to save the first elf, and so saved the elf, and then the 2 elves are limping to the finish to try to win. But just because you can't hire mercenaries doesn't mean you can't have assistants in the quest. I mean, that's how Dave Morris did his. I mean, he has the here, I'll just show you. So you got these two novels. I'm not going to spoil them for you, but these Hero Quest novels that I've been reading, and sorry, I don't have time to read them now, but so Tyrant's Tomb. So he's got a barbarian quest in here, a solo quest, completely independent of the North American games. So yes, solo quests for Hero Quest did exist in Europe. So this is 1993. So this is the year after. Yeah, Hasbro Bradley Limited. So quick spoiler. Yeah. But what it is yeah, you could freeze frame that, but it's really hard to read. But yeah, it's the barbarian goes by himself, but he finds a wizard, like a wizard prisoner, and if he takes him with him, okay, he's got some help. In this book, so this is book 2, so I want to say this is 91. No, this is 92. Okay, so this is the same year as the barbarian and elf quest pack. So in this one, there's a solo quest where it's the wizard who starts off and he finds a barbarian who could help him. So yeah, it's a solo quest, but you get another character. In the same way, I mean that barbarian, yeah, he's not, spending gold to hire mercenaries, but maybe he finds a prisoner. Prisoner got a weapon, can help him out. So there's ways to do it. All right, well, I'm getting tired and it's getting late. So thanks everybody for joining us here in Hero Quest fans. My voice is getting tired, so I'm going to quit, but I am going to thank everybody who came to visit. So Action Shin, excuse me, Alien Gathering, another TV viewer, Erica Effenberg, Cax606, Midsoon, Striker667, and Tanarif. So welcome to Hero Quest fans. And I was going to say let's raid somebody here because raids are fun. But I'm looking in my favorites list for anybody that we could raid, and everybody's offline because it's Saturday night. They're doing other stuff. So yeah, people I would recommend though here on there's Board Game Geek TV. There's Gareth Hridemar. He said he might be able to come yesterday, but I didn't see him, so he must have been busy. That's okay. Dark Moleta 38. I keep wanting to go to his thing because he's got cool stuff going on, but I keep missing it. The Strange Bus does classic games. HeroQuest 99, Covert Nerd Podcast, Learlek, who is a regular on the Discord, board games, and then Nightbird. Some of you may know him as Icarith, regular. Hope he's doing well these days. Ron Moore, HeroQuest Twitch. Yeah, HeroQuest Twitch. Striker667, of course. Did he go offline? Oh, he's just not having a stream right now. And then Covert Nerd Podcast. But yeah, who should we raid? I mean, I'm always looking for other channels to add. Some of these people are popular, but I'm not really interested in what they do. No offense. Well, this would be a great group to raid. Yeah, thanks. Any suggestions on whom to raid? Well, the next time we get a big group like this, we should go raid somebody, which just means jump on the channel and show them some love. Not in a mean way, in a good way. Okay. Well, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and end the stream. I'm going to have to pack all this stuff up, which will take a little while, and we're going to upload everything to YouTube. So yeah, we went over an hour talking about the Frozen Horror and other adaptations because there's lots of stuff they could adapt. I mean, I hope they do finish the Barbarian Quest pack and it's a big success, and I hope they do the Mage of the Mirror, and I hope they do the European versions. Dark Company, not just Against the Ogre Horde, Wizards of Morcar. They could do the Dave Morris solo quests. They could do the White Dwarf magazine ones, but after that, what's left? It's just going to be up to the fans. I mean, unless they make more original stuff. But I think they've got to listen to the community. I mean, just because someone's loud doesn't mean they're right. That's obviously true. And yes, there are fans that are hard to please. They always nitpick. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not 100%, always fanboy. Everything's great. I love everything. I'm excited and happy about everything. Whatever they do, they can do no wrong. I'm not like that. I used to be like that with some things a long time ago. I regret it, but I was young. I was naive. But I'm also not like, oh, like, you can never remake anything. You can never really re-release anything. Everything has to be unpopular. If it ever gets popular, it's sold out and it sucks. Like, I don't want to be like that. It's like, okay, can you enjoy anything for any amount of time? Everything has to be bad. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm just like, I'm cautious, I'm suspicious. I know they're doing it as a cash in, so it's like the question is it going to be good? Well, I'll give my feedback. Will they listen? Will they not? Who knows? Because I think for the most part, I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm saying, other people believe it, other people say it. Not everybody. And the people that like everything and have no problem, like you could change something completely. It's like you sell the blue car. Well, I'm going to make it yellow. So now it's a yellow car. Oh, I love it. Okay, now it's the green car. Oh, I love the green car. Oh, change it back to blue. Oh, it's the best ever. I love the blue car. Like those people you don't have to worry about impressing because they're going to be happy no matter what. Then you get the people who are angry no matter what you do. Okay, well you don't have to worry about them because no matter what you do, there's no pleasing them. Okay. It's the people in the middle. It's the people that liked the product that first came out, and you have to find out what was it that they liked about it. Maybe their views have changed. Maybe their tastes have changed. They've grown up. They don't like the same things they liked as a kid. Maybe they remember it fondly because they're just going to give it to their kids, but maybe their kids don't like the same thing that they liked as a kid. Who's to say? But you try to find out, do your marketing research, find out what was it that made the product good? What was it that grabbed people's attention? What is it that they like? And once you know that, then don't change that thing. If nothing else, just give them more of what they like. Not so much that it's oversaturated and not special anymore. Nobody cares about it anymore. Don't do it to death. Too much of a good thing. But don't change the stuff that's good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? That's the secret. So I hope that Avalon Hill and Hasbro that they discover that and they admit it to themselves and that they can do it well. I think they did a fine job on the new quests that they put into the mythic tier, but the problem is most fans don't get to see that. So I guess we were the test audience. If they could give us more stuff like that, that would be fine. And if they want to remake stuff, that's great too, but they just got to realize, hey, the Barbarian and the Elf Quest pack actually had some problems. They could have benefited from some more playtesting. And fans have come up with solutions. Not just me. I mean, I came up with that list pretty quickly, but people have been saying stuff like that for years. So I'm not the first or only one. And maybe I'm missing a few things. Maybe that thing with the toolkit. Yeah, just put a toolkit in there. Oh, you find a toolkit. A couple of rooms later, now here's where you need to use it. Because you search for traps and you know there's a trap on that chest, but you can't search for it. I mean, you can't disarm it. You have no way to disarm it. Oh, but that toolkit I found. Well, there's a chance, you know. So there may be some other solutions we're not thinking of. And maybe there's some other things because I haven't played all those quests. So maybe there's just there's a ridiculous number of monsters. Maybe it's not logical that you could survive those quests even with all the stuff they give you. Maybe they need to give you a few more potions. Cuz really, that's how you make I know how to make quests easier and I know how to make quests harder. So the more monsters you add, the longer the quest takes and the harder it is. Because, yeah, you can get lucky rolls, but eventually they're going to get you. Eventually they're going to wear you down and you're going to die. And eventually you're going to use up all your potions and spells and you're going to be dead and you're going to lose your gear and you're going to get frustrated. And yeah, the heroes don't have to win every time, but you make the game easier. You give them more gold, which means they can buy more stuff. They can buy more mercenaries. They can buy more potions. You give them more potions. Um, you can add more treasure cards to the treasure deck. And the more good cards you add, that means there's a greater chance they'll get something good. If you add more bad cards, there's a greater chance to get bad things. Because yeah, the Frozen Horror adds bad cards to the treasure deck as well, so it kind of balances it out. I mean, as it is, there's more of a chance of getting a good card than a bad card, but it's still almost half of them are bad. Wandering monsters or hazards that do damage. because the good cards get taken out of the treasure deck. The bad cards stay in there, and according to some interpretations, you have to shuffle it back in. I mean, at a certain point, you can use card counting techniques to realize that all the good cards are gone, and so you just stop searching for treasure. Unless you see a treasure chest, then you're going to try. I mean, unless it's just a blank piece of furniture, then you have to get a card, and it's going to be something bad. But yeah. So, and then giving rewards after completing the quest. So usually early on, you complete a quest, they give you a gold reward, or they give you an artifact. Not always, but a lot of times they'll give you something. And so that is this you can carry that on to the next quest. Or maybe they don't give it to you as a reward for completing the quest, but maybe they give it, to you for killing the boss monster of that quest. You kill the evil sorcerer, oh, he was wearing the talisman of lore. Oh, he was carrying the wizard staff, whatever. Oh yeah, that chaos warrior that you killed, he had the ring of return, or oh, he had the orc's bane. So you take it. So if you'd never, completed that, you wouldn't have gotten it. So there's things like that they could do. Now, if they want to make the quest harder, what could they do? Well, they could give the orcs crossbows so they can attack at range, or give the goblin spears so they can attack diagonally. There's stuff like that they could do. Give a Fimir or abomination. Give him a spell. Give him a rust spell, or give a chaos warrior some magic. I mean, there's different things you could do. Make the gargoyle made of stone, so he rolls one extra combat die in defense. So you can beef up the easier quests, but making the harder quests easier, but not making them like you could get rid of monsters because you could just get rid of the Yeti. The Yeti's too powerful. Get rid of him. Well, they clearly didn't get rid of the model, but you could make his abilities not quite so overwhelming, or you could give the heroes more stuff. You sprinkle some more weapons around. Put some more weapons in the armory. I mean, who's to say you can't do that? I mean, we haven't even seen what the cards look like. I think they're pretty much going to leave it as is, but I think if they publish an official errata, if they get on Twitter and they get on Facebook and they send email to people who bought it and say, "Hey, here's the list of corrections. Spread this far and wide." Because the fans are going to do it, but they have a much wider reach than we do. They have a bigger platform. They can inform a lot more people. And so they can make their customers happy. Say, hey, listen, I know you just bought this, but here's the patch. Here's the day one patch that fixes it. And yeah, not everybody is going to know about it because some people are not going to buy it, until years later, and then they'll be like, what? Why is this all broken? Let me get online and see if anybody has fixed it. Oh, these guys fixed it. Great. But not everybody's going to do that. And they need to think of the common everyday casual buyer. I mean, their money is good too. They're going to buy the game and they're not going to want to mess around and do lots of homework. They just want it to work. They want it to be fun out of the box. And if it's broken, they're going to be mad. And they might not buy the next one. So then you've lost a sale. So I want there to be more HeroQuest releases, good ones. And so I want them to fix the problems with this so that it's not just our us in the hardcore fan community who buy it and nobody else does, and then they quit making new stuff because it's not profitable. I mean, the whole Hasbro Pulse thing of you just release something that only a few collectors is going to buy, like, I'm not into that. The only reason I participated was I wanted the Mythic tier stuff. I wanted the Stephen Baker quest back, but I would be perfectly happy if they released that stuff to the public. I wish they would. I mean, we got it early and we got it cheaper than if they put it into retail. So I'm not missing out on anything. I wish more people get to experience it. So maybe not everybody agrees with that, but that's my sentiment. So a little bit of soapboxing. I said I wasn't going to get into the politics on this channel. I really don't want to. I think it's divisive and it's depressing and annoying and all that stuff. But when it comes to the game, I mean, stuff that directly impacts the game, HeroQuest, the franchise, that's more the stuff that I'm interested in. So if it doesn't have anything to do with the game, forget it. Talk about it somewhere else. But yeah, I think it's in their best interest to make the Barbarian Quest back good and to correct the problems. But first, they've got to admit those problems exist. And if they rush it out like the original was, then they're going to have the same problems that the original had. And I mean, the internet was pretty new back then in 92. I mean, you get on America Online or Prodigy or whatever, get on Usenet, get on the news groups, get on the BBSs and start complaining about the new Hero Quest. It's like, oh, I haven't got that yet. Was it good? No, it was bad. Oh, okay, I won't get it then. Oh, they stopped making it anyway. Oh well, it'll be a collector's item someday. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us in Hero Quest fans. I'm just rambling now, putting all this away, and we'll catch you next time. So, I do want to do Space Crusade. I just don't know when I'm gonna have a chance to do it. If I'm gonna do it this week, this weekend might be busy, so I might have to go on vacation from the stream. I've enjoyed doing these streams, but yeah, it's like the more fun stuff I get to do, the less fun stuff I get to do on this. So it's a opportunity cost. All right, everybody have a great night. Thanks for joining us here again on the stream on HeroQuest fans, and we'll see you on XSC3, home of HeroQuest fans on YouTube. See you on the Discord. See you on yeoldin.com forums. Everybody have a great night. Have a great week. Bye.